In today's news, we see CARICOM concerned with the way the Commission of Inquiry was launched. Also, Governor Rankin answering many of the questions related to the Astrazeneca vaccine secured by the United Kingdom for the BVI. We also see the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force launching a Operation Clean the Streets. And the DPP not accepting any more written requests for criminal matters to be discontinued. All that and so much more on today's news. Hello viewers, we are down to the end of another week here at 284 Media. It is Friday, February 26th. My name is Javon Wilson and I am so happy to be bringing you today's dose of local, regional as well as international news right here for 284 News. Now, in our summary, we see a commemoration just happening. It's going to be happening this Sunday now in commemoration of the anniversary of the birth of Lavity Stoutt. The Virgin Islands Communal Association, VICA, in collaboration with the Virgin Islands Studies Institute, that they will be hosting a public forum, two public forums actually, under the theme Strengthening the Core of the Virgin Islands Future Generations. Now, the presenters for the 28th February session will be Mr. Hugo Vanterpool, Miss Elise Donovan, and Mr. Kedrick Malone. Now, you are cordially invited to join in on the discussion. That is, again, this Sunday, February 28th at 4 p.m. at the Eileen L. Parsons Auditorium at HLSCC. Viewers, today we also had the honored opportunity to sit down with His Excellency the Governor John Rankin to discuss a myriad of topics, including the vaccination rollout and most recently CARICOM's concerns about the COI, and that update was released just yesterday. So we're so happy to get into that. Additionally, we see the 49th BVI Spring Regatta and Sailing Festival, which of course was initially scheduled for March 29th to the 4th of April, has now been postponed until 2022 following deep consideration by all entities involved. Now, this is according to a post made by the committee that further stated, and I quote, "The BVI Spring Regatta Committee, after discussions with the BVI government, Ministry of Health, concluded that the postponement was in the best interest for the safety of all participants, volunteers, and the wider BVI community." End of quote. Now, viewers, pretty much expected, especially in light of the fact that our seaports remain closed, but definitely still an unfortunate situation. As we move on, we see just coming out of Cabinet's last decision, last meeting, we see just about $360,000 being approved for the payment of a barge to protect the territory's borders. Now, Cabinet's release stated, and I quote, "The continuance of works with the issuance of a new contract agreement between the Government of the Virgin Islands and Easy Shipping Limited to provide two barges to serve as radar platforms for the securing of sea borders for a further 1 month with effect from December 23rd, 2020 through January 22nd, 2021 in the amount of $360,000. This was for the period of December 2020 through January 2021, again in the amount of $360,000. Now, viewers, we do know there has been lots of public criticism as it relates to the efficacy of this move, but we do see government really forging forward with their objective to protect our borders. Now, viewers, as we head into our newscast, just yesterday, the CARICOM heads of government during their 32nd intersessional meeting expressed, and I quote, dismay, end of quote, about how BVI's Commission of Inquiry was announced without any real notice. to the local government, media, and civil society. Now, the communique dated February 25th stated, and I quote, "Heads of government are cognizant of the disquiet that has arisen among the people of the British Virgin Islands about the establishment of the Commission of Inquiry. Further, the heads of government are dismayed at the manner in which the Commission of Inquiry was established with no consultation, no prior communication between the UK government and the duly elected government of the Virgin Islands. Heads of government noted the strongly expressed concerns on this matter by the British Virgin Islands government, of which the concerns are also shared by other associate members of the community." End of quote. Now, viewers, CARICOM's statement further highlighted, and I quote once again, "Heads of government received a letter from the Premier of the Virgin Islands which apprised of the announcement of the 18th of January 2021 Commission of Inquiry that was launched to, quote, establish whether there is evidence of corruption and abuse of office or other serious dishonesty within the public office in the British Virgin Islands. The CARICOM body is now very concerned and hopes that the Commission of Inquiry will be conducted in a fair and transparent manner. Now, today we had the opportunity of sitting down with newly appointed Governor of the Virgin Islands, John Rankins, who had this to share. So, listening. CARICOM just yesterday, within their communique, they met both yesterday and the day before. Their heads of government expressed, and I quote, the word dismay about the Commission of Inquiry, about the way it was announced, and they said it was done so without any real notice to the local government, media, or even civil society. Do you think this has damaged UK relations in the region?
I think that what would damage relations and what would damage BVI, frankly, would be if these issues were not being tackled and not being addressed. Of course, there were headlines around the announcement which were uncomfortable for many people, but what would be much more uncomfortable would have been if these allegations had continued and the governor and the British government were seen to ignore them. And I believe that it will give confidence in BVI. And I want to support a successful BVI. I want to support a BVI in which the economy is doing well, in which people feel strong and feel resilient. And I believe that although, of course, there's some discomfort around this sort of announcement, but I believe that by addressing the issues and by tackling these issues and seeing and acting on whatever recommendations come out of the Commission of Inquiry, will be in a better place at the end of the day. So some discomfort, of course, but I think that what would have been worse would have been to ignore these issues and not address them.
Now, viewers, the next stage of the inquiry, expected to last several months, will involve seeking further information and documentation predominantly from public officials, including elected and statutory officials. Now, as we move on, 4 teams of the officers from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force were deployed on roll and search as well as on mobile and foot patrols early last week in a Clean the Streets operation to cover commercial centers and primarily cash-based entities during business hours. Now, the traffic and drug offenders were the only arrests made so far. However, teams are providing the needed reassurance to businesses and intelligence support to officers who work behind the scene. Now, in continuance of the Joint Task Force working relationship, Customs and immigration officers will also join in these roll and search operations around the territory to quell the recent rise in firearm-related incidences. Now, the acting Deputy Commissioner of Police, Ms. Jacqueline Vantapu, says that while the BVI generally enjoy months where there are no serious crimes, there are always sporadic spells. She said, and I quote, "Fortunately, we have long periods where gun-related violence is virtually non-existent. Then we have brief spells where persons feeling confident and bold after having acquired a firearm commit robberies for short-term gain. Frequently, the individuals are either caught or simply stopped because there is very little long-term profit in such activities." And of course, she explained. Now, Vera, she also noted that firearms became more dangerous when they fall into the hands of a few who are volatile and unstable, which unlikely played a factor in the recent gun-related deaths. Ms. Jacqueline said, and I quote once again, "These are individuals with hot tempers and impulsive in any number of households within our community. A firearm in that mix is a dangerous thing. The sad thing is the household knows when there is a weapon in the mix and remains silent. If this mindset does not change, we will continue to have these outbreaks. We have to treat firearms like we would any deadly disease. Get it out of the house and out of circulation as soon as possible," she said. Now, the acting DCP is inviting the public to join the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force in the Clean the Streets operation to rid the territory of illegal firearms. She said, and I quote, "We are asking the public to help us to bring an end to this violence. If you know anyone who has or is carrying an illegal firearm or where one is being hidden, help by calling and pointing us in the right direction. We will do the rest." That was the acting DCP. Now, viewers, persons with information of persons carrying illegal firearms can call the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force Intelligence Unit at the number 368-9339. Again, that number is 368-9339. Now, still ahead of the break, there is still a lot of uncertainty surrounding the Astrazeneca brand of the vaccine. And today, we took the opportunity to really question the governor on what the future of the BVI looks like under this very specific brand. We zero in on the conversation right after this commercial break, so stick with us. Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, as we move on, as the vaccination plan continues to roll out within the territory, many are still questioning the AstraZeneca brand that has been secured for the BVI, and also whether or not it is not only effective enough as compared to other brands, but also whether it will be accepted by larger nations like the United States, where it is yet to be approved. Now, what if we were to get the vaccine and still not be accepted into the United States of America? Will the United States of America ever approve this brand? How do we deal with new strains that the AstraZeneca vaccine is unable to protect against, like we saw in South Africa with persons abandoning the vaccine simply because it did not protect against new strains? And also, is the United Kingdom in conversation with the United States to approve or at least accept persons vaccinated with the AstraZeneca brand? Now, viewers, the latter question was answered today by His Excellency the Governor, John Rankin. So listen in. The AstraZeneca brand is the one that was secured for us here in the territory, and I know it's widely being used as well by members of the United Kingdom population. However, it is yet to be approved by the United States, Governor Rankins. With that said, is the United Kingdom in talks or even negotiations with the United States to ensure that at some point soon this vaccine could be approved or at least recognized? Because one of the fears we have coming from the community is, suppose I were to take the vaccine and I needed to travel to the U.S., being that the U.S. does not recognize the AstraZeneca vaccine, what then would be our next course of action? So are you, as a matter of the UK, in conversation with the US on this?
What I can tell you is that the World Health Organization, which is the ultimate international organization dealing with this issue, has approved the Astrazeneca vaccine and has confirmed it's safe for people of all ages. 18 million people in the UK have now received that vaccine or the Pfizer vaccine. It's proving effective. I note that President Macron of France, I believe just yesterday, spoke favourably about the AstraZeneca vaccine. So I have every confidence that it will be approved by our neighbours in the United States and will help to give confidence to people from here wishing to travel there and hopefully vice versa in due course.
All right. Viewers, welcome back. I'm so happy that you can join us. Now, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions advises the public that the office will not accept written requests for ongoing criminal matters to be discontinued from any virtual complainant or witness. If there are any concerns about the case, virtual complainants and witnesses should now report to the law enforcement officers who are in charge of investigating their respective cases. Now, pursuant to Section 15(9) of the Virgin Islands Constitution, Order 2007, the only person who can discontinue criminal proceedings before the High Court and the Magistrates Court is the Director of Public Prosecutions. It must be borne in mind that when persons make a complaint to the police, government resources in the form of police investigations and prosecution preparations are engaged. Now, viewers, in cases of serious matters involving injury to persons, theft, domestic violence, sexual offenses, and offenses involving children, the Crown shall proceed as a matter of public interest and maintaining public safety. Now, virtual complainants and witnesses are reminded that failing to appear at court when subpoenaed or summoned may result in legal consequences. Persons are always also being reminded that threatening, persuading, or otherwise influencing a virtual complainant or witness in an attempt to coerce them to not give evidence or to falsify their account of a matter is a criminal offense, and the offenders will be prosecuted. Now, viewers, still after the break, we see the first sitting of Youth Parliament now being set for March 11th. We want to get into the details of that and so much more when 284 News returns.
Hey, Johnson. What's up? Well, you look like you're about to pass out.
I think I am. But anyhow.
Cho, what are you doing?
Remember last year when I spoke to you over the phone? When I said, well. Anyhow, ever since that moment, I was wanting to take this step further with you.
OMG, Johnson!
I want to know if you, Via, would officially have me as your sales rep with a friend.
What?
To get live with our February promotions.
Huh?
Get live, get love, and get gifted. Bring a friend to CCT to sign up for a freedom plan. Take a picture with them in the store and post to social media with the hashtag GetLiveCCT. Then put your receipt with your number in the golden basket and wait on a call from Jante. First place gets $500 each. Second place, matching Samsung Galaxy A30s. And third place, $150 shopping vouchers each to one mark.
So what you really saying?
Really? And I could bring a friend too?
More the merrier.
Father Jesus, that line you long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes,
Good
son.
morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man forget you.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Top of power.
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top up or?
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, just last year, we see the government of the Virgin Islands, in an effort to generate revenue, introducing different types of legislation to the territory, one of them being the Licensing Act for marijuana. Now, that act was passed in the House of Assembly just last July and eventually transferred to Cabinet for approval. However, we have seen a consistent halt as it relates to the predecessor governor, that is previous governor, Governor Jasper, assenting to the bill. Now, today, during our exclusive sit-down with current governor, His Excellency John Rankins, we spoke about that as it relates to the status of that bill. Where does it sit at this point, and on whether he plans to assent to the bill? Listening. Just last year, the government of the Virgin Islands introduced quite a number of new legislations to ensure that we could generate revenue, diversify the economy in as many ways as possible. And one of the legislations coming to the forefront was the Cannabis Licensing Act. We do know it was passed in July of last year. Can you comment on the status of that bill and what is the possibility of it being assented to now that you are in office?
I mean, there were two pieces of cannabis legislation which were passed last year. One is on the legalization issue. That's still under consideration. As you will know, there are debates on the pros and cons of legalization of marijuana and legalization of its use. And I don't think it's an easy issue to come to an absolutely firm conclusion on one way or the other. The other bill relates to medical marijuana. I think that's a different debate. And on that one, I hope that a way forward can be found. So medical marijuana is lawful in the United Kingdom, and it's regulated in accordance with the requirements of the United Nations International Narcotics Conventions. So what we need for the legislation here is to have a licensing arrangement and regulation set up, which would also ensure that compliance with the international requirements to make sure that medical marijuana is administered and produced safely. And I'm keen to encourage an effective conversation between the relevant agencies here and their opposite numbers in the UK, so that we can make sure those regulations and licensing arrangements are in place. So I certainly hope we can make progress in that area.
Now, as we begin to wrap up, the Virgin Islands Youth Parliament is now poised to hold its first sitting on Thursday, March 11th, following a series of training sessions, preparatory meetings, a relaunching ceremony, and the appointment of a secretariat. Now, Premier of the Virgin Islands Youth Parliament, Mr. Kevin Foy, will move a motion that will allow the youth members to debate the topic, should the Virgin Islands move to self-determination, end of quote. Now, coordinator of the VIYP Secretariat, Dr. Arlene T. Penn, said that the youth parliamentarians have been engaged in intense research and discussions about the motion and that they have been meeting several days a week, including weekends, to prepare their contributions for the upcoming debate. Dr. Penn said, and I quote, "As a secretariat, our responsibility is to create learning opportunities for the young people to gather primary and secondary data from different stakeholders, including scholars and local, regional, and international institutions. We expose them to different strategies for amalgamating and interpreting the data collected, whether it is quantitative or qualitative," the coordinator said, adding, "Additionally, we have been working with them to ensure that there is a clear understanding of the differences that exist between parliamentary and school debates," she said. Dr. Penn further added that, and I quote, "Our responsibility is not to tell the youth what to think about or how to think. Instead, we have encouraged all of them to allow research, data collected, to guide the shape guide and shape, how they draw their conclusions and frame their respective contributions to ensure independent thinking through the lens of the youth, end of quote. Now, viewers, a 5-member secretariat led by Dr. Penn was appointed by the VIYP in January to provide support to the management committee of elected members. Members of the secretariat also include Mrs. Phyllis Evans, Mrs. Brenda Letsam Tai, and Mrs. Haida Joyles Selwood. Now, the public is reminded that a resolution was passed during the 5th sitting of the 2nd session of the 4th House of Assembly for the appointment of a special select committee to manage the youth parliament. The committee members are Speaker of the House, Honorable Julian Willock, who is the chairman, leader of the opposition, and member of the 8th District, Honorable Marlon A. Penn, Deputy Speaker and Territorial Member, Honorable Neville Sheep Smith, Minister for Transportation Works and Utilities, and a member for the 5th District, that is Honorable Kai Reimer. We also have Junior Minister for Tourism and Territorial Member, Honorable Shari B. De Castro, Member for the 3rd District, Honorable Julian Fraser, Member for the 2nd District, Honorable Melvin Mitch Turnbull, and Junior Minister for Trade and Economic Development, and also Territorial Member, Honorable Shireen D. Flax Charles. Now, the Virgin Islands Youth Parliament is comprised of 23 persons from all districts, ranging from the ages 18 to 35. The nominees are selected from other youth organizations, churches, and nonprofit organizations. The public is hereby invited to tune into the broadcast of the 1st session of the Virgin Islands Youth Parliament. That, of course, is going to be beginning at 5 p.m. on the House of Assembly's VI's YouTube page. You'll also get to view it via the Government of the Virgin Islands Facebook page as well. But viewers, that is all the time we have for today. I want to thank you so much for making time to sit with us throughout the week for your daily dose of local, regional, as well as international news. Be sure to check us out via our website, 284media.com. We're also on Facebook at 284media and Instagram and Twitter at 284BVI. It was my absolute pleasure joining you this week, and I want to encourage you to join us again on Monday as we deliver more local, regional, and international content right here on 284 News. Have a good weekend, everyone.